William Broad, you are charged with conspiring to defraud, contrary to common law, in that you, on or about the 2nd day of May, 1973, did conspire together with a person or persons unknown to defraud Ronald William Charles and others by manipulating the odds on the totalisator at the Oak Grange Racing Stadium on the 2nd day of May, 1973. How do you plead, guilty or not guilty?
Not guilty.
Members of the jury, we have before us a complicated case. Complicated, I submit, not by its considerations of honesty or dishonesty, not at all. These considerations, I suggest, will become clear to you as the facts are revealed. No, its complexity lies in the amount of expertise that was required to perpetrate this fraud, or coup, as it has been euphemistically called. Now, I'm afraid that you will have to master some of this expertise in order that you may judge of the fraudulency of the actions of the defendant and his associates. I would now like to read you a bare outline of the case, which I hope will help you to follow the witness's testimony. Now, as you've heard, the defendant is charged with manipulating the odds on the totalisator at Oak Grove Stadium, northwest London. And his manipulation, to judge from the results, was extremely successful. Now, it is the prosecution's case that he and persons unknown went to Oak Grove on the day in question, and on the 3:40 race, they prevented any other people at the stadium from betting on the totalisator forecasts, which is, I believe, the most common bet in dog racing. And that by preventing a consensus of wagering, they thereby ensured that the totalisator returns were not a reflection of the respective merits of the dogs competing. And in fact, they managed, by obstructing others from betting, to make what should have been the most fancied pair of dogs into rank outsiders, by promoting the genuine outsiders to favouritism by artificially backing them. Well, none of this would be of any concern to anyone except those deprived of the right to wager if it were not for one crucial fact, the fact upon which this case pivots. And that is that bookmakers have for a long time, and in good faith, accepted the returns of the totalisator as a reflection of an animal's worth and the general betting public's opinion, and have therefore been prepared to offer those odds and those dividends to the people using their services away from the courses. So, it is our submission that the defendant in this case, Mr. William Broad, used and abused this trust, and he did it in this way. He selected a forecast that was to him as near to a certainty as was possible. He wagered heavily on this forecast with a number of bookmakers, particularly with a Mr. Ronald Charles, and having wagered with these men who accepted his wager in good faith, he connived to distort the odds of the dogs that he backed by preventing others from backing their own selections. It is the submission of the prosecution in this case that this was a conspiracy and that it was dishonest. My Lord, for my first witness, I should like to call Mr. Ronald Charles.
Ronald Charles, please.
You are Mr. Ronald Charles of Nightingale Gardens, Fulchester?
That's correct.
And you are by profession a bookmaker?
I am, yes.
And you are the proprietor of Off-Course Investors, Fulchester?
That's correct.
Which makes you the largest bookmaker in the city.
I understand that is the case.
Biggest villain, maybe.
Yeah. And you have your premises in the centre of the city, do you?
Cannon Square, that's correct.
Now, do you know the defendant, Mr. William Broad?
I do.
In what capacity do you know him?
Well, as a customer, a punter.
A punter, my lord, and members of the jury, is someone who wagers on the...
Yes, thank you, Mr. Deary.
My lord. Did you know Mr. Broad in any other capacity, Mr. Charles?
Well, I don't know what you want me to say.
Well, did you habitually meet him anywhere else but on your own premises?
Oh, yes, at the Brutus Sporting Club. I'd often use the Brutus in the course of business, you understand, and he was there drinking with, with people, you understand. I never associated with him there, of course.
Now, Mr. Charles, I have tried to outline the risks that a bookmaker takes in offering the odds produced by the totalisator in dog racing. Now, I wondered if you would elucidate this, please, for the benefit of the jury.
Yes, of course. Well, of course, the risks are vast. I mean, you can very often come, well, how shall I say, you can lose a lot of money.
Now, would you just give us the mechanics of what happens?
Oh, yes, by all means. Well, now then, let's see, it's how best to express it, you understand. You see, the thing is this. A punter goes to the races, an honest punter, that is, and he wants to back the bet which is normal at the races. Now, that is the forecast bet. Now, that is to say, the dogs which are going to come, or which he thinks are going to come, first and second. You see, it's not like backing the winner straightforward.
When you say first and second, Mr. Charles, is that in the correct order or merely the first two dogs past the post?
Oh, I beg your pardon, Your Honour, no, that was my mistake. No, indeed, I didn't make it quite clear. You are right when you say in the correct order.
I see, thank you. Go on, please.
Well, now then, the people, the punters, members of the general public at the track, they have their bets on the tote. Now then, when the race is over, the amount that the tote has taken is divided amongst those who have won. But you understand, this is only amongst those who are actually at the track. So what you might say, well, what about the poor chap who can't get to the track? Now, that's where we come in, the bookmakers. You see, because we have no control over it. We can't affect how it's going to turn out. We can't say what it's going to pay. Well, fair enough. I mean, they've all had their chance at the racetrack, they've all backed the fancy, and so we take the attitude that whatever the tote pays out will be fair. And so we agree to pay that amount to our clients.
What about paying out on this one?
The gentleman at the back of the court will be quiet or he will be removed. Very well, Mr. Dealey.
Oh. Now, Mr. Charles, you've said that you know Mr. Broad as a customer, that is to say, as a punter. Now, what stake was normal for him? I mean, how big were his bets?
Oh, small fry, really. £5, £10, seldom more.
Then this is small fry.
Oh, I mean, considering the league that he'd pretend to be in.
I see. And did you always deal with him personally?
Oh, good Lord, no. But, I mean, I usually see his stakes at some stage.
Now, Mr. Charles, would you tell us what happened on the 2nd of May, please?
Well, Broad came into the office, into the main office, that is, shortly after we opened. It'd be about 9:45, and he asked to see me.
Did he always ask to see you?
Well, no, you see, you understand, this wasn't the first time. He liked to throw his weight about a bit, you see. He had an illusion of grandeur, you know.
I see.
Well, I went in the shop and I asked him what he wanted. And he said he wanted a monkey on the 4 and 6 dogs in the 340 at Oak Grove. Well, which is as much as to say he wanted £500 on that forecast.
£500.
£500.
What was your reaction?
Well, my first reaction was that he was joking. I asked him if he was going to pay in buttons or washers.
And what did he reply?
Well, to my amazement, and this is the first and only time he's ever surprised me, he took out a roll of notes and he started counting them out.
Well, he had this money in cash?
Yes. But you see, what you've got to understand is this. I mean, the forecast bet isn't usually a big bet. You see, the dividend is decided on a 10-penny stake. That's to say, if the bet pays, well, say £1, then for 10 pence, you get £1. So for £500, well, I mean, it was utterly ridiculous.
Certainly for a man whose bet was normally in the region of £5 to £10.
Certainly.
Did you comment on it to him?
Well, I suppose I made some observation. I mean, one tries to be civil.
What sort of observation?
Well, just as to the size of the bet, I think I said something about him fancying the dogs very strongly.
And what did he reply?
Nothing.
He didn't answer?
No, he just looked at me.
I'd have told you to take a running jump with yourself.
Leave it out, Gander.
He's having a go at you, Billy. Watch
Leave
him.
it out, I said.
I will have silence in this court, and I will not remind you again.
Now, Mr. Charles, you've said that Mr. Broad put £500 on the 340 race. What happened?
Well, the forecast won. The bet came up. Oh, that's fair enough. I mean, the favourite was the winner. Green Aim Beauty, the 4 dog. The second favourite came second. Dancer, the 6 dog. Well, I mean, the others, they weren't at the races. The forecast was such an obvious one.
Sorry, Mr. Charles, did the other dogs not appear?
Oh, the others did no chance.
You said they weren't at the races.
No, I beg your pardon, Your Honour. You see, one gets into such ways of habit, you understand. No, when I say they weren't at the races, I mean they were a long way behind. You see, they didn't stand a chance.
Yes, I see. Go on.
You were saying that the forecast was an obvious one, Mr.
Well, of
Charles.
course it was an obvious one. I mean, this favourite was well odds on. Oh, I don't know if you're acquainted with odds and so on, Your Honour.
Yes, I have been horse racing, though I must confess I've never been dog racing. However, I do understand the terms, but there may be some in the jury who would be grateful for an explanation.
Oh, by all means. Well, now then, first of all, you see, you've got evens. That's 50-50 sort of thing. Say, you back a pound, you win a pound. Now, that's even money. Now, then, when you're into odds on, you win even less. Now, then, 3 to 1, that means you bet £3, you win £1, that sort of thing, you see. Well, so that if any animal is odds on, then it's in with a fair chance. And I can assure you, ladies and gentlemen, these were 2 hot favourites. The rest at 6s and 7s.
In fact, we have the result of this race, my lord, in the agreed bundle of documents, page 7. The 340 at Oak Grove. First trap 4, Green Ain Beauty. Second trap 6, Dancer. 2 to 1 on favourite and 5 to 2 second favourite. The other prices were 6 to 1, 7 to 1 and 100 to 8. That was from the Sporting Life of the following day, my lord. Now, Mr. Charles, what would you expect from your experiences of bookmaking a forecast of that kind to pay?
On a 10-penny stake?
Yes.
15 pence. If you were lucky, you might pay 17.
Not more?
Not more.
Not even 20 pence?
20 pence would be ridiculous.
So, what, in fact, did it pay?
£47.
Really? And what did this mean that Mr. Broad had won for his £500?
£223,250 after tax.
So you stood to lose £250,000.
Well, I mean, it was ridiculous. It was so obvious. I mean, you know, he shouldn't have been so ambitious. He's greedy.
What was your reaction?
Well, as I said, it was utterly fantastic. It was beyond the bounds of possibility or any such thing. I didn't believe it. I never did believe it. Well, it was quite funny, really. A couple of the lads, you know, the settlers, they thought they'd play a little bit of a joke on me, you see. And so they wrote up the bet, just as though it was all proper, you see. They wrote out, win, 223,000 and so on, you see. And they left it amongst a pile of slips for me to find. I had a bit of a good laugh about that.
Were there other people with the same bet, Mr. Charles? Completely innocent people?
My lord, I must
I
object.
think perhaps you'd better rephrase that question, Mr. Dealey, without any insinuation of guilt.
Certainly, my lord. Could you just tell us, Mr. Charles, did you have other bets on this same forecast?
Oh, just as you said. I mean, people who had nothing to do with this at all. I mean, quite pleased to win a few shillings, you know, quite honestly. And I can tell you here and now, I've spoken to a lot of these people, and they no more expect me to pay out this ridiculous sum. They just don't expect it.
So the people with 10 and 20 penny bets were winning how much?
£94.
And what's happening about these people?
Well, I mean, I can't possibly pay them out at this price, can I?
So what in fact is
It's
happening
been put
then?
in abeyance. The whole thing's been left in abeyance.
You've had to withhold payment of these bets.
We've had to, with no option.
Does this mean that...
Look, I'm sorry, but I must make this absolutely clear. No one is more sorry than I am to have had to do this. And I must tell you that bookmakers all over the country have been placed in the same position. No one has paid out on this bet. And I can't tell you how sorry we all are.
Have you ever had to withhold payment of a bet before?
Never. I wouldn't do such a thing. Now, look, I must make this absolutely clear to you. A bookmaker in my position can't cheat even if he wanted to. And I can tell you here and now, I love this game so much. See, I get on with all my customers. Well, they're my friends. Well, they are my friends. Well, I wouldn't cheat my mother and father. I wouldn't cheat my customers. I wouldn't want to.
Thank you, Mr. Charles.
Your honesty is impressive, Mr. Charles.
Thank you, sir.
Does the expression flimping mean anything to you?
Flimping. Oh, I think I've heard it.
A practice common among the bookmaking fraternity of giving short odds.
Oh, is that so?
You have never done this?
Never.
What about squeezing odds?
I'm sorry, I don't know what you're talking about.
My lord, I must object. This witness is not on trial.
I submit, my lord, that since the honesty of my client is being called in question, those that do so must surely be prepared to have their own honesty scrutinized where it bears upon the matter under consideration.
Yes, I accept that the honesty of bookmaking in general and Mr. Charles's practice of it in particular is germane to the case. However, I would be glad, Mr. Ingrams, if you kept your questions within bounds.
Very well, my lord. Have you heard of the practice known, I believe, as squeezing?
I don't think so.
Making a false favourite.
Look, I know nothing about making false favourites. Now, there's lots of rumours about...
Confine yourself to answering my questions, please, Mr. Charles. What about a rick, Mr. Charles?
Look, I'm sorry, these are on course terms. They've got nothing to do with me.
How very convenient. So you would say, would you, that within the context of bookmaking, you are entirely honest?
With my hand on my heart, so 100% honest.
How can you? How can you say it? Ronnie, can you see me here? 8 grand, remember, Ronnie, 8 grand.
Will you be seated, sir?
Your Honour, this court must listen to me. Perjury is what you're hearing.
You will resume your seat, sir, and keep quiet, or I shall have you removed
I
from
can't
this court.
hear that lying skunk and keep quiet. I wanted to testify. Why can't I testify?
Sir, would
That
you
man
please
robbed
remove?
me. Squeeze the odds. He knows about squeezing the odds, the lying, cheating swine. He's pulling the wool over your eyes. No, let me tell you, Your Honour, I could have had him. I could have won £8,000 and that skunk went to the track and squeezed the odds on me. Call me as a witness. Please call me as a witness. I want to be heard.
Very clever, Bill.
It's nothing to do with me, Ronnie.
It's a pot-up job.
Every word of it's true.
Gentlemen, I will have order, or I shall clear the court.
How are we for libel?
Nothing that is said outside the witness box has any sway with myself or with the jury.
But with all due respect, my lord, he's in the witness box and he just said that was a put-up job. Well, I want to know is if he's on oath, that's slanderous, that's libel.
Mr. Broad.
I'm sorry, my lord.
Now, members of the jury, will you kindly erase from your mind anything that has been said both by the man who has just been ejected and anything since then? Now, do you understand that? Very well. Continue, please.
Thank you, my lord. So, Mr. Charles, you were telling us, with your hand on your heart, that you are 100% honest.
Was I? Well, yes, I think that's true.
Aren't you sure?
I am, yes.
Now, you've told us that Mr. Broad normally bet in stakes of £5 and £10.
Yes.
Were you not therefore somewhat surprised when he came in and staked £500?
Well, I told you I was.
You told us that you made a facetious remark or two, Mr. Charles, but what did you do? What action did you take?
Well, what could I do? I took his bet. That's what I'm there for.
Did you not lay the bet off?
No.
Would you not normally lay off some of the bet as large as this
Mr.
one?
Ingram, could you please explain that term for the jury?
Oh, certainly, my lord. It is standard practice amongst bookmakers that when one of them finds himself heavily committed to a single animal, he gives some of the place money to another bookmaker who is not so encumbered, and thus he passes some of the bet on, as it were.
I see. Thank you.
Did you not do this, Mr. Charles?
No.
Why not?
Oh, because I thought he might come unstuck.
Oh, you thought that the bet might lose?
Yes.
So there was a chance that the bet would lose?
There's always a chance that the bet might lose. And anyway, I mean, a bookmaker's got to be a bit of a gambler as well. And anyway, I enjoy it. So I thought I'd hold on to it. I thought the second favourite might just get a nose in front.
So you would concede, would you not, Mr. Charles, that Mr. Broad was, in fact, gambling?
To an extent.
Now, Mr. Charles, you know Mr. Broad, or rather you meet Mr. Broad socially, do you not?
At the Brutus.
Would you recognise any of Mr. Broad's friends or associates?
Yes.
Did any of them have a bet with you on that particular forecast that morning?
Oh, well, not in the morning. Now, in the afternoon, Williamson...
yes, but you were not in the shop in the afternoon,
As a matter
were
of
you?
fact, I wasn't, but I did hear about it.
Thank you, Mr. Charles.
No further questions, my lord.
Very well, Mr. Charles, you may go.
I call Miss Doreen Tring, please.
Doreen Tring, please. Come this way.
What is your religion?
C of E.
Take the testament in your right hand and read aloud the words on this card.
I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
You are Doreen Tring of Abel Avenue, Fulchester,
I am.
and you're a receptionist as well as working 2 days a week at the Oak Grove Dog Stadium
That's right.
as what I believe is called a seller.
Yes.
What is a seller exactly, please?
I sell tickets on the tote.
It's forecast tickets.
Yes.
Now, do you remember the events of the 2nd of May this year?
Yes.
And were you working at Oak Grove on the afternoon of that day?
I was, yes.
And would you describe to us the events that preceded the 3:40 race as they appeared to you?
Well, from where I sit, you can hardly see much outside. You can just see the customer.
That's the person buying the tickets.
Yes.
Or would you describe the arrangement that prevents you from seeing much outside?
Yeah. Well, it's like one of them old-fashioned railway ticket offices. It's sort of a window, and it's like round at the top, and it's just narrow, so you can only see right in front of you the customer.
That's very clear. Thank you very much. Would you carry on with the events that preceded the 3:40, please?
Well, it was all just normal. The 3:20 race went by, and there was a bit of a lull, and then a gentleman came to the window and started buying a couple of tickets.
Do you recognise this gentleman in court today?
Yes.
Would you point at him, please? The accused.
Yes.
Then what happened?
Well, he started talking.
What did he say?
Oh, you know, silly things. You know men.
Yes, but could you be a little more precise?
He asked me if I wanted to go out.
It's still on, darling.
He asked me what sort of lipstick I use, where I got my hair done. And he asked me if I wanted to go out again. Kept coming back to that. Oh, yeah. And he said he didn't fancy the favourites as much as he fancied me.
What was your reaction to all this, please?
Just laughed at first. But then the queue started building up behind him, and I asked him if he wanted to bet or else to let the people behind him get by.
Now, what did he say?
Said he hadn't started.
But he hadn't started betting?
Yes.
And then what happened?
Oh, well, he bet a bit, you know. He kept looking for his pockets for his money. Then he'd take £1 out of his inside pocket and buy a couple of tickets. Oh, and in the middle of it all, he asked me for £1 worth of shillings for the telephone.
And did you give them to him?
No.
Did you get the impression that he wasn't really a serious backer?
Well, he was serious about one thing.
Yes, but I mean genuine. A genuine backer, did you think?
Oh, no, definitely not. He was stopping other people. There were people in the queue shouting. Well, I suppose they were in the queue. Well, by the end of it, you could hear it was pandemonium outside. No one could get by.
Are there other kiosks, in a line with you?
Yes.
How many?
8.
And what was happening in the other kiosks?
Well, the same thing, only with a different man, of course.
And for how long did the defendant block the window of your kiosk?
Until the 3:40 race went. Towards the end, he was getting quite serious. He was betting quite a lot. Nothing could stop him.
How much did he bet?
About £40.
And all in small amounts?
Yes,
And all on forecasts, that's to say combinations of 2 dogs?
that's right.
Were there any 2 dogs that you noticed that Mr. Broad avoided backing?
Well, at the time, it's all just a lot of numbers, if you see what I mean. I mean, it's just a jumble. But it turned out that he hardly backed the 4 and the 6 dog.
Hardly.
He bought 1 ticket.
And earlier, he told you that he didn't fancy the favourites.
As much as I fancied her.
Good old...
Silence in court!
The case of the Queen against Broad will be resumed tomorrow in the Crown Court. Ex-bookmaker Bill Broad stands accused of conspiring to defraud contrary to common law. The prosecution case is that Broad and his accomplices conspired together to manipulate the odds on the totalisator at Oak Grove Dog Racing Stadium and, by preventing anyone else from laying their bets, turned the normal payment of 15 pence for a 10-pence stake into £47. The prosecution witness now on the stand is a cashier at the dog track on the day in question.
Miss Tring, I shan't detain you very long. You said earlier that towards the end, Mr. Broad was betting quite a lot.
Yes. Did I?
You did.
Well, he was.
He got quite serious, you said.
Yes.
I'm not trying to catch you out, Miss Tring.
No. All right.
In fact, Miss Tring, what you mean is that Mr. Broad was betting quite normally.
I suppose so.
And when you said that there was pandemonium outside, could you see outside?
No, but I could hear.
What could you hear?
People shouting at him to get a move on.
How could you tell that they were shouting at him?
Well, I suppose they was. He was blocking the window.
You aren't sure that they were?
No, I couldn't actually see them.
Don't you quite often get people who take a long time to place their bets?
Well, not that long.
No, but a long time, longer than the normal time.
Yes.
If a man wanted to put £40, say, on various forecasts, and, well, if he'd been in the bar, for instance...
Oh, yes.
Well, how long might he take?
About 5 minutes.
Might there not be shouting from people in the queue?
My lord, is this extended speculation necessary or relevant?
It would be more to the point, Mr. Ingrams, if we could hear of Miss Tring's own experience.
As your lordship pleases. Have you ever before this occasion, Miss Tring, known anyone to block the window to your kiosk for any reason for longer than it would normally take him to place a bet?
Yes,
Frequently?
occasionally.
What is the average stake that you take from each customer?
50 or 60 pence.
But Mr. Broad staked 40 pounds, Mr. Tring. Would you not therefore expect him to take longer than normal?
I suppose so.
When you've had people, shall we call them awkward customers, has there not been shouting from people who you took to be in the queue?
Well, yes, I've heard shouting before.
I put it to you, Miss Tring, that once Mr. Broad had stopped behaving in the way that men will behave and started betting quite a lot and getting quite serious, you regarded him as a perfectly normal customer, and that it was only what happened afterwards that caused you to change your attitude.
You mean I didn't think anything about it till afterwards?
That is precisely what I mean, Miss Tring.
Yes.
You didn't?
No.
Thank you, Miss Tring.
I have no further questions, my lord.
You may go, Miss Tring.
Oi, darling, we can't go on meeting like this.
I call Mr. Cecil Rhodes Smith, please.
Cecil Rhodes Smith, please.
What is your religion?
Church of England.
Take the testament in your right hand and read aloud the words on this card.
I swear by Almighty God, the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
Mr. Smith, were you at the Oak Grove Stadium on the 2nd of May?
I was at Oak Grove that afternoon, yes.
And in which stand were you, Mr. Smith?
I chose to be in the inexpensive enclosure that afternoon.
And do you recall the events that preceded the 3:40 race?
Very clearly indeed.
Would you describe them to us, please, in your own words?
Well, I suppose the reason for my vivid recall was wanting, as I did, through information of a sort. If you understand what I mean by information, there's nothing wrong with it, you see. But there were two animals in the race that I did have a particular interest in.
There were two dogs that you particularly wanted to back, were there?
There were two, yes. I was to have backed them in a forecast. I don't know if you're familiar with this term.
We have had it explained to us, yes, thank you. Now, Mr. Smith, what happened when you went to back this forecast indicated by your information?
Oh, an abject, impossible. I couldn't do it. I just could not get my wager on.
Now, why was that?
Well, the queues were completely blocked.
This was at the totalizator?
At the totalizator, yes.
The windows to the totalizator were completely blocked?
They were impossible.
So what did you do, Mr. Smith?
Well, there were no alternatives open to me. I stood in a queue, and on realizing that there was no movement in it, I transferred to another, only to be met with the same responses. Well, of course, by this time, with only 5 minutes before the hare ran, you can imagine my frustration.
Mr. Smith, the hare ran. That is an expression we haven't yet encountered in this hearing. I wonder if you would oblige.
By all means, my lord. The hare. Well, the greyhound, you see, is not necessarily an animal that will race of its own accord without the reason of the hare. Perhaps that isn't clear. Well, you see, the greyhound is put in a box, or as it's known, a trap. And so that it won't stay in the trap, which in spite of the hare, this is something that has been known, and there's a name for it, but so that it won't usually. And to make it want to race, there's the hare. It's not a real hare, of course. That'd be ridiculous.
Now, the hare, if I understand you correctly, Mr. Smith, is a mechanical lure which circles the track, causing the unfortunate animals to pursue it in unwitting competition.
That is precisely the size of it, my lord.
It might interest your lordship to know that Winston Churchill once referred to greyhound racing as animated roulette.
Yes, Mr. Dealey, Mr. Churchill had a lot to say of value on the practices of our society. I think perhaps you'd better get on.
My lord. Mr. Smith, you were telling us of your frustration at not being able to place a bet on the 3:40 race. There was 5 minutes to go before the start of the race, so what did you do?
I do apologize. I've completely lost the thread of my thoughts.
Well, you've told us that you had some information and you wished to place a bet on the 340, but you were prevented from doing so.
Where did I? Where did all this happen?
At Oak Grove Stadium, Mr. Smith, on the 2nd of May.
Oh, yes, I do apologise. I'm sure you'll appreciate my frustration. So I moved to another queue. Well, the story was exactly the same. Queues of people quite rampant. Well, by this time I was running from one queue to another, and people were hurling abuse. It was really quite shocking. A greyhound stadium is an unsavoury place at best in the inexpensive stands, but this was quite the most deplorable state of affairs.
Now, why were the windows of the totalisator blocked?
Well, there were men standing there, and fights broke out, and the noise was terrible. But the root cause of the trouble were the men standing at the windows, standing there so that no one else could possibly approach.
And did you eventually get your wager on?
No, I couldn't. They were totally obstructed.
Thank you, Mr. Smith.
Thank you.
Mr. Smith, you said that you had information as to the likely outcome of the race in question.
I did, yes.
Had you paid for this information?
Yes.
Which were the two dogs concerned?
Well, the eventual winners, as it so happened.
Then you must have been extremely angry when they won.
I was furious.
And these
quite
men...
beside myself with rage.
Yes, and these men who you say were blocking the windows must have received the full force of your temper.
Well, there you are. Which of us likes to be deprived of a winner?
Precisely, Mr. Smith. And I suggest to you that having been, in your opinion, so deprived, you have built upon and considerably elaborated your story. I suggest to you, with great respect, Mr. Smith, that this would be only natural, considering your disappointment.
I haven't exaggerated. I've told you what happened, just the plain facts of the case.
Were all the queues blocked, all of them?
All you could not get a wager on, sir, I can assure you of that.
How could you possibly have tried all the queues?
Well, the ones I tried, that's my meaning.
But how many did you try?
4 or 5 at least.
I see. Now, you say that these queues were blocked.
They were impassable.
By men?
Standing there.
What were the men doing?
Well, standing there, just simply standing there.
Were they not betting?
Well, not for that long.
Could you see that they were not betting?
Well, one didn't have to see. It was obvious.
We've heard testimony, Mr. Smith, from one of the cashiers that in one case at least, the men indeed were betting, and very heavily.
Well, that's nothing to do with me. I can't help what a cashier tells you. I can only tell you what I saw with my own eyes, and that's the only thing a man can say. And that is what he saw with his own eyes, and that is what I saw.
But did you go to the front of any of the queues?
Of course not. I'm not wanted with that.
Mr. Smith, did you observe any transaction at the tote windows at close quarters?
Well, you could not possibly approach, sir. There were fights. People were being violent, you must understand.
Thank you very much, Mr. Smith.
I have no further questions, my lord.
You may go, Mr. Smith.
Thank you, my lord.
I call Mrs. Marjorie Troughton, please.
Marjorie Troughton, please.
What is your religion?
Church of England.
Take the testament in your right hand.
I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
You are Mrs. Marjorie Troughton of 24 Alma Road, Hammersmith, London?
Yes.
And you are the manageress of the totalisator at Oak Grove
Yes.
Stadium? Does this mean that you are in overall charge of the totalisator?
It does.
It isn't split up into different departments? No. So, who are you responsible to?
To the punters.
Yes, of course, but who does check your work?
The auditors. We have 2 audits here, always surprise checks by the excise department, and then we have an independent auditor from the authority that grants us our licence, the local county council. They have their auditor always working at the stadium, checking all the dividends before they're declared. It's absolutely scrupulous.
I wonder if you'd describe to us, please, the way that the totalisator dividend is arrived at.
Well, certainly. Now, let's take forecast dividend. In any race of 6 dogs, there are 30 possible combinations, and each combination normally attracts a certain amount of money in bets from the punters. When the result of the race is declared, all the money on the possible combinations is divided up amongst the punters who have backed the winning combination, and that's a forecast dividend.
And I wonder if you could give us some idea as how much money would be staked on any
No,
one...
no, it's quite impossible to say.
Well, on average, then?
Well, it would depend which 2 dogs.
Yes, I see. Well, I do understand your problem in making generalisations in such a circumstantially sensitive context. But I do wonder, though, in all your years of experience, Mrs. Troughton...
27 years.
In 27 years, Mrs. Troughton, have you ever known 2 warm favourites only to attract 2 10-penny bets?
Only once.
And when was that?
on the afternoon of May the 2nd this year.
And what would you, purely as a matter of opinion, have expected those two favourites to attract in terms of stakes?
Oh, well, my opinion is hardly relevant since there are facts we can draw on in this case. Now, the tote also runs win and place betting apart from the forecast betting, and since those booths weren't interfered with, we were able to get perfectly normal results in the win betting. So we looked back to our records to find a previous race where we paid identical dividends on the first two dogs. Now, on the afternoon of May the 2nd this year, that's the race we're talking about, the win money was 18 pence to a 10-penny stake, which is odds of 4 to 5, and the place money on the second dog paid 17 pence. Now, the last time we had a race with identical dividends was on the 20th of October, 1968, in the 820 race, and there again, the win money paid 18 pence, and the place money on the second dog was 17 pence. But the forecast dividend in October paid 4 and 9 pence, which is 23 and a half pence, and in May the 2nd of this year, it paid 47 pounds. Now, that's an elementary test, but I think the result speaks for itself.
You have at least implied that there was interferences on the betting of the 340 race. Now, in your opinion, was that the case?
Yes.
And where did this interference take place?
In the tote forecast windows. It very soon became apparent that people were betting in a very strange way.
And when did you first become aware of this?
It was my main assistant in the main control room that first pointed out to me, my chief dividends calculator, Mr. Trevor, and he pointed out to me on the tote board that there didn't seem to be any money at all going on the 4 and 6 dogs either way.
What is the tote board, Mrs. Troughton?
Well, it's a large indicator board that shows the punters exactly how the betting's going. It's quite straightforward.
And you and your colleague could see this board?
We have a smaller version of it in the main control room where I work. Well, as I said, he pointed this out to me, and we both watched for a while, and though the other forecasts were climbing steadily, all the time we watched, there wasn't a flicker for the 4 and 6 dogs.
So what did you do?
I rang down to one of my booth supervisors to see if I could find out what was up, and it was very soon clear. Now, the first supervisor I talked to said that...
I'm sorry to interrupt. I'm sorry to interrupt you, Mrs. Troughton. But at what stage did you ring your supervisor?
Oh, it'd be about 3:30. Betting had been in progress for about 5 minutes after the finish of the 320 race, maybe 6 minutes.
I see. Thank you. Would you go on, please?
Yes, well, the first supervisor I talked to said that she was very glad that I rang.
Now, you are not allowed to tell us what you were told, Mrs. Troughton, but as a result of what you were told, what did you do?
Well, I said I'd go down immediately.
Go on, please. Thank you.
So I went down to each of the booths in turn. I spent about 2 minutes in each, and in every one of them it was the same story, except in 2 instances. There were 2 windows where betting was going on normally, but of course they were crowded as all the punters overflowed onto them.
I wonder if you could be a little bit more precise, Mrs. Troughton. Exactly what did you see in these booths?
Well, I walked behind the row of sellers, about 5 or 6 in each booth, and not all the windows were open, it being the afternoon. I walked down behind the rows of sellers and watched over their shoulders, and as I said, in every case it was the same. There was a man just standing there. None of the punters could get their money on.
And these men, were they betting?
Well, I suppose you could say they were betting.
But were they also doing anything that you might think was, well, playing for time?
Oh, absolutely. I'll give you one instance. Take unsold tickets. Now, normally, after a race like that one, you'd expect 20 or 30 unsolds, and that is tickets that the punters said wrong or the sellers got wrong, or for one reason or another, they've not been paid for, but they've been punched. Now, we have to keep a track of those for the auditors, and after that race, there were 220 unsolds. 220.
Can we be absolutely clear about the significance of these unsold tickets?
Yes, it's one of the ways they were using to hold things up.
Yes, but I mean, could you be absolutely explicit as to how they held up proceedings?
Well, a man would buy, say, 10 tickets on a forecast, say on the 1 and 2 dogs, 10 tickets on the 1 and 2 dogs, and then he'd look at the tickets and say, no, he hadn't said the 1 and 2 dogs, he'd said the 1 and 3 dogs. So she'd put them to one side, he wouldn't pay for them, they'd be unsold, and then she'd have to do the 1 and 3 dogs.
I see.
And there were 220 tickets of this nature?
Yes.
Thank you, Mrs. Troughton.
Mr. Ingram's.
Mrs. Troughton.
Yes?
When you made your tour of inspection, you would have had to pass among the punters in order to reach the booths,
Yes.
would you not?
Yes.
Was it chaos? Was there pandemonium?
Well, there weren't all that many there, it being the afternoon, but there was a certain amount of shouting at the men blocking the queues.
Were there any fights?
I didn't see any fights.
People were not being violently prevented from
No,
betting?
there didn't appear to be any violence. People were bewildered more than anything.
I see. You said you spent a couple of minutes in each booth?
Yes.
How many booths did you visit?
Well, all the booths selling forecast tickets, that'd be about 6 on that afternoon.
And you spent a couple of minutes in each?
I didn't time it.
You evidently did not time it. With the greatest respect for your invaluable testimony, Mrs. Troughton, it would have meant that you made your last inspection over a minute after the 3:40 race had finished.
No, that is not the case. The 3:40 race didn't go off till 3:42.
Oh, I see, but well, surely you would have had to get from one booth to another. That must have taken some time.
Well, maybe it was only a minute in each. It was enough.
1 minute in each booth with an average of 6 sellers must have meant that you only spent 7 or 8 seconds.
Well, it was long enough, whatever it was.
Was there no action you could take, Mrs. Troughton?
Not really.
Had you no ground staff, no security staff?
Yes, well, it wasn't a robbery. There was nothing illegal.
Men were merely betting?
No.
Which is, after all, what the tote is for?
It is, but they were stopping others.
Was there anything dishonest even in what they were doing?
I've told you that as far as we were concerned, there was nothing illegal.
May I be absolutely clear, Mrs. Troughton? Was there anything that you could describe as dishonest?
As far as the tote was concerned, it was not dishonest as such.
Exactly.
I must thank you very much, Mrs. Troughton, for shedding so much light on what was a rather obscure case. Your testimony was invaluable.
That concludes the case for the prosecution, my lord.
Thank you. Call your first witness, please, Mr. Ingram.
Lord, I call the defendant, William Broad.
Good luck, Billy. Look after him, lad.
Tell him what you think, Billy.
Do some steak.
What is your religion?
RC.
Take the testament in your right hand and read aloud the words on this card.
I swear by Almighty God that the evidence I shall give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
You are William Broad of 12 Rodney Square, Fulchester?
Yep,
And you are managing director of the company Racing Services?
that's right.
Racing Services is what its name suggests?
Yeah, well, it's an umbrella term, isn't it? Covers all aspects of racing, dogs, horses, anything that'll race.
But not bookmaking?
God help us, no. Anything the other side of the fence.
Have you ever been associated with bookmaking?
Yeah, that's where I started.
And what was it that caused you to jump over the fence, as it were?
You mean why'd I go the other way?
Yes.
Well, can I be honest?
Please do, Mr. Broad.
Well, it was bent. It was that bent it disgusted me.
You surprise me, Mr. Broad. I would have expected you to have a very strong stomach.
You'd be absolutely right, my lord.
Mr. Broad, can you tell us about your first job that first brought you into contact with racing circles?
Certainly. Well, I come from London originally, and I started selling eels outside Dagenham Stadium. Then I started on the inside, and this really was on the inside. I was working for one of the biggest bookies in the country, if not the biggest, and I was going down the dog tracks every night, backing dogs for this bookies.
This bookmaker was backing dogs?
Yeah, and these dogs wasn't winning. Either they was stoomers or they was on ice, but they wasn't winning and they wasn't meant to win. It was just a way of making a false favourite.
In what way would this be advantageous to a large bookmaker?
Well, in every way, my lord. You see, all the money he gets for the favourite goes on the wrong dog. Then you've got a springer. Well, everyone wants to get on a springer. It's more money for the bookie.
What is a springer, Mr. Broad?
Well, when the price comes tumbling down on a dog, all the doubles, trebles, accumulators with the favourite, well, they all end up beat, lost. And this is a funny thing. All the dogs that I was sent to back never did win. I don't know why or how they didn't know they were going to win. I had my own opinion about it. But anyway, there was nothing illegal in what they was doing.
And what was your next job after this?
My lord, I do not see the relevance of any of this testimony.
Mr. Ingram's?
I'm rather surprised at my learned friend's objection, my lord. It is the defence's case that there was nothing that could be fairly described as dishonest by any criteria that could be applied to the fields of gambling and bookmaking.
My lord, surely honesty is not a mutable concept to be altered according to context.
On the contrary, my lord, it would clearly be absurd to apply the same standards of morality in a monastery as in a purely commercial venture such as bookmaking.
Yes, I can allow that the jury should be alerted to the context in which we're engaged, but I would be very grateful, Mr. Ingrams, if you would come to the central point as soon as possible.
Very well, my lord, I shall do so now. Mr. Broad, did you go into the main offices of off-course investors on the morning of May the 2nd?
Yeah, I did.
What happened?
What happened? Well, I went and had a bet.
To whom did you give your bet?
Silly Sam, the settler.
Did you not give your bet to Mr. Broad, to Mr. Charles?
Oh, yeah, but he came out afterwards.
You did not ask specifically to see Mr. Charles.
You're joking. I'd take the bypass to avoid him. Ask him, God help us. Do you know the only reason he came out? Because 2 days previous I'd lost about a score on a dog, and he was a bit pleased about that. He was having a bit of a gloat.
Mr. Charles has told us that he loves his customers.
Yeah, loves their money.
Do you feel that he extends that love to you?
Well, love me? Well, Ronnie Charles? Ronnie Charles would bring back hanging just for me.
He dislikes you?
He hates me.
Mr. Broad, after you left Mr. Charles's premises, where did you go?
Oh, I drove down to London, picked up a couple of mates in Camden Town.
And who were these people?
Oh, there was Dead Body, The Ghost and Bunter. Then we all went down the stadium together.
Did you meet anyone you knew when you reached the stadium?
Yeah, I did, as it happens.
Who did you meet there?
Well, there was a geezer I knew a bit called Monaghan, and another geezer, McGinty, and about a dozen of their mates. All paddies, Irishmen.
Had you arranged to meet them there?
Well, I wouldn't say arranged. I'd sort of seen them in the pub, the Mother Redcap, and we'd said, sort of, see you there sort of thing, if you can make it sort of thing. But before you go into all this, what you've got to say is, why was we going there?
Yes, I am coming to that.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you. We was going there for one reason alone, and that was to get a good price for that forecast.
Now, when you say to get a good price, what exactly do you mean?
Well, decent odds. Simple as that.
Could you not have relied upon the odds that would have been declared?
Well, of course, I could have relied on the declared odds, but I'd have been a bit of a mug, though, wouldn't I? I mean, it's just me against the bookies, the legalised mafia. There's just me and those 2 dogs against that lot. I mean, one of us has got to use our loaf, and I could hardly rely on the 2 dogs, could I? I mean, they've got brains about that big, smaller than Ronnie's. I'll tell you one thing, though. I'd worked out that forecast and I'd put my wedge on it. And I was blowed if I was going to take 2pence for me trouble.
The case of the Queen against Broad will be resumed tomorrow in the Crown Court. Bill Broad is charged with conspiracy to defraud by manipulating the odds on the totalisator at Oak Grove Dog Racing Stadium. Broad denies that a conspiracy existed and is now giving the court his version of the events which took place on the 2nd of May, 1973.
How did it happen, then, that so many of the tote windows were blocked in the way that has been described?
It was the IRA, wasn't it? Monaghan and his gang of paddies.
You had not planned this with Monaghan?
Well, I wouldn't say planned. It was like I said, we'd met in the pub the week before, and I was telling him how I fancied these 2 dogs, and how I didn't think that I'd get much of a price for them. And we was talking about manipulating prices. Well, let's face it, manipulating prices, punters and bookies, it's been going on for yonks. So he said how he might like to help me, and he'd get a few of his lads. Well, he was working on this big building site, you see. He said, well, I'll get the lads from Kerry, and I'll get a few of the boys from, I don't know, Lochinvar, some Irish part. Anyway, he said, with them, you'll be able to get as much money as you want on. So we had a bit of a talk and a bit of a laugh. I didn't think any more about it. You know, it was one of those talks you have in a pub. And McGinty, he wasn't even in on it. Anyway, when I got down there, I couldn't believe it.
When you got to the track, there were how many men there willing to help you in placing money?
Well, there was 5 of us. And there was Monaghan and his mates, about a dozen of them. And there was about half a dozen people I knew from old times, like, you know.
Acquaintances?
Yeah, I suppose it was about 23, 24 all told.
How was it then that with so many unexpected helpers, you had sufficient money to go round?
Well, I had a century each for us, so that's, 500. So instead, we had about 40 each, and we give the hounds about a score each, something like that. But, I mean, it was so unplanned, though. I mean, it wasn't true. I found myself handing out fivers like they was potato crisps. It was just as well we didn't try to get the money on alone, though. I mean, those ladies down there, I mean, they are that slow. And nothing personal, love, but, I mean, it's chronic. I mean, half of them don't know a greyhound from a goldfish, and the other half are deaf. You say 5 and 4, please, lady. They say, sorry, me watch is stopped. I mean, it's like a geriatric ward. All except you, of course, darling.
Kindly restrict yourself to the matters in hand, Mr. Broad.
Sorry, my lord. Anyway, I mean, we just wouldn't have even got 100 on a combination like that. No chance.
Mr. Broad, was it ever your intention to prevent other people from betting?
Well, it didn't come into it.
It was at no time part of your plan to prevent others betting?
No, it would have helped us as it happens.
Why do you say that?
Well, I mean, if more people had betted, the dividend wouldn't have been so high. So we wouldn't have had all this hollering.
Could you please explain exactly what you mean by that?
Well, the dividend was £47. And that was on, what? That was on about 10 winning tickets, was it?
No, there were 14 units on the winning combination with a projected win dividend of 47, which is a book price of 2 to 1, as compared with trap number 3, with a projected win dividend of 40 to 1 and a book price of 20 to 1.
Mrs. Troughton, I'm very sorry to interrupt you, but evidence from the body of the court is not admissible. The jury will erase from their minds anything that they have understood. Go on, please.
Thank you, my lord. Well, anyway, I mean, supposing it had been 14 winning tickets, supposing it had been about 50 winning tickets, well, then the dividend would have been about £8 or £9. And you would have said, oh, unexpectedly large dividend. But you wouldn't have invoked the law of the land, that's a certainty.
No, I see. So, in fact, you could say that your hopes were destroyed by a lack of planning.
It's too true.
To what extent were you taking a chance, Mr. Broad, or were you indeed gambling when you embarked on this venture?
Well, to every extent. I already had 500 down the Swanee if those dogs lost.
Was anyone who helped you to place bets paid for doing so?
No.
No one received any payment of any kind?
No. Oh, I bought them a drink.
Before or after the race?
Before. And 24 bottles of Guinness.
Lots of more and all.
Yes. Mr. Broad, did it at any time occur to you that you should not do this because it was dishonest?
Never.
Do you consider that it was dishonest?
Well, how can it be dishonest? I mean, the bookie arranges the odds in his favour all the time. So I've got no qualms if I, as a punter, can go out and get myself some decent odds on a decent bet.
Thank you, Mr. Broad.
And even then, the bookmaker wins. I mean, he just don't pay. Do you reckon, ladies and gentlemen, that if you find in my favour, he'll pay? Never.
I
Mr.
offered
Broad.
you your steak back.
I don't want me steak back.
Gentlemen.
I'm sorry, my lord.
Very well, Mr. Dealey. You're ready.
You seem to have extremely high principles that made you turn your back on bookmaking. It was that bent it disgusted me. But this squeamishness doesn't appear to have affected you when it comes to equally dubious practices as a punter.
Well, it ain't equally dubious. You're beating the book.
Well, I could perceive nothing to distinguish the manipulation of odds that you perpetrated at Oak Grove from the manipulation that you pretended to abhor earlier on in your testimony as performed by bookmakers. Is there indeed any distinction that you could point to?
Well, the difference is, which I'm surprised you don't realise, that they're doing it all the time. So you've got to do it back when you get a chance.
So you don't abhor it at all, do you? As long as you're doing it.
Well, it's the game, isn't it?
And all your earlier testimony, your pious attitude, going over to the other side, was all just eyewash.
Well, it is disgusting to me when you're always claiming all the time that you stand to lose as much as the punter, when everything's arranged so much by you as the bookie that you can't lose, in fact.
Oh, Mr. Broad, it's all very tortuous. You must forgive me if I doubt your sincerity.
You're forgiven.
Mr. Broad, you've asked this court to believe.
I've told this court.
All right, you've told this court. And in doing so, you've asked them to believe. But there's no compulsion. That you went down to Oak Grove on the afternoon in question, and there you met no less than 20 people who were willing to help you place bets merely by chance.
Well, not by chance.
Well, almost by chance. 6 of them, you say, completely by chance.
Well, I'm bound to meet someone I know at any big dog track. I've been at the game that long.
But, Mr. Broad, 20? Now, I put it to you, Mr. Broad, that you arranged with these people to be there, and for a very specific purpose.
Look, I met Monaghan at about 2:30, and we went into the bar, and his lads were sort of wandering about, and I asked if he could get them to help. And those that agreed, I gave about a score to, and that was it.
And how many of them disagreed?
Well, I don't know. I don't know if any of them did.
No, because if they're going to disagree, they wouldn't have been there in the first place, would they, Mr. Broad?
Well, maybe he'd mentioned something to them. I don't know.
Oh, surely it must have been apparent that they knew what they were there for. They'd been prepared. Look, how could they have cooperated in such an over-successful operation?
I told you I don't know, and I don't really... Well, I'm not supposed to say that, am I?
You don't really care? Fair enough. And so, Mr. Broad, you say that in order to put this money on, you used the services of 24 of your friends, 24 men, and yet you say it was not your intention to block the windows of the tote.
Well, it wasn't.
Did it not occur to you that there would have been an easier way to have put this money on?
No.
No, because in that way you would not have blocked the windows, would you?
What way?
How long have you been around racing, Mr. Broad?
Oh, all my life.
15 or 20 years. And it didn't occur to you that you could have gone to the manageress of the tote to put this money on?
No, it didn't. Why should I?
To let other people bet, Mr. Broad.
Oh, do leave off. I mean, it's one thing to be fair, but you don't want to end up cutting your own throat, do you?
Ah, so it was your intention to prevent other people from betting then?
Well, let me put it this way. I knew that if I could get my money on the outsiders, it would prevent people from putting their money on the favourites, and that's what I wanted.
Thank you, Mr. Broad. I think we can at least agree on that point, although we may express ourselves differently. There was one thing you said, though, Mr. Broad, that puzzled me.
Go on.
Well, you said you didn't realise that the forecast would come out so high, that the dividend would be so large.
$250,000, I didn't.
And yet we've heard that there is an indicator board to give you just such information on display by law. So how come you did not realise?
Well, I didn't look at the indicator. I didn't think to check, to be honest.
Is it not far more likely that you did check it? And that you were very glad to see how few tickets had been sold on your forecast?
No.
And it wasn't until you realised that the bookmaker was going to refuse to pay out on your deliberately rigged forecast that you were full of self-congratulation.
Well, I was pleased it had come off, but he should pay by law.
Mr. Broad, you have said nothing to weaken the impression that the whole of this thing was a carefully and deliberately planned conspiracy, both in its nature and intention, fraudulent and dishonest.
God help us. Well, I'm glad it's them that's going to have to decide.
Thank you, Mr. Broad.
Thank you.
Very well, officer.
I call Patrick McGinty, my lord. You are Patrick McGinty of 14 Castle Road, Camden Town, London?
That's correct.
And you are a landscape gardener?
Yes.
Mr. McGinty, do you know Mr. Broad?
No, sir. I've never met him in my life.
Mr. McGinty, did you not meet Mr. Broad at the Oak Grove Greyhound Stadium on the 2nd of May?
Except at Oak Grove, sir, on that day.
But not before that?
Only in a pub, sir, in Camden Town.
So you did not know him well?
Oh, no, sir, no. I was introduced to him.
How many times had you met him before you met him at the stadium?
At the stadium. That's correct, sir. Yes.
But before that, Mr. McGinty, how many times?
Before that?
Before that, yes. Once?
Once, yes. So that would be about it. Not more.
And did Mr. Broad suggest to you that you go to Oak Grove Stadium that day?
Oh, not at all. I went on my own, like me and some of my mates.
How many of you?
Well, about 20 of us set off, and about 10 of us got there.
And who suggested that you should go there?
No one suggested it.
Well, how did it happen then?
We all went down there in the bus.
Were these other men working at landscape gardening?
Well, there was about a dozen on the garden and a couple of brickies and their mates and so on. But there was nothing underhand or out of the way about it.
I'm sure there was not, Mr. McGinty. How did you get there?
Aye, well, the weather was terrible that day. You couldn't lay a brick. So we set off and with a good afternoon. Boys are boys, with a really good afternoon.
Mr. McGinty, how did you get to the stadium?
In the lorry.
Mr. McGinty, am I to infer that you and 20 was it of your fellows abandoned your work without asking leave from anyone in authority, instead went down to a dog racing stadium in a vehicle belonging to the firm? Now, have I followed your testimony correctly?
There was nothing underhand about it, Your Honour.
Were you given permission for this exercise?
Permission? But I'm sorry, I'm completely lost, Your Honour.
Did you ask for leave from your work?
We backed the dogs that we fancied, and no question.
Oh, please try to understand me, Mr. McGinty. Was there a foreman in charge?
There was, sir.
And did he give you leave?
He did, sir. He come with us. But he didn't tell us what to back.
Go on, Mr. Ingrams.
I would like to make it quite clear to Your Honours, we was never told at any time what to back.
Yes, sir. We have taken your point, Mr. McGinty. Thank you. Now, when you and your companions arrived at the track, were you met by Mr. Broad?
No.
Did you see Mr. Broad at any time during the afternoon?
No.
Did you receive money or receive any instructions from anyone during the course of the afternoon?
Well, I won a bit and I lost a bit, and that was about the size of it.
Do you remember what you backed in the 340 race?
There are 6 dogs, sir, and they all look much the same to me.
Can you not remember, Mr. McGinty?
No, sir, I do not. Of course I do, yes. I mean, the 340... I had a good bet on the 340 race for a mate. This mate of mine, he went home a couple of months ago. Now he had a good tip. Now, this man had a... Monaghan, he had a good tip. And when he had a good tip, he went in strong, like, you know. Like, I don't know if any of you fellas have been to the dogs here. No, I don't suppose you have. Well, like, it can be a terrible job, like, just getting the money on. You know, it's that slow, like. And this mate of mine, he said, like, he gave me a few quid and he asked me to get it on for him. The 340 race, of course I remember. But I do not remember the name of the dogs now.
This was on a forecast, was it not?
It was, sir. And this was a tip that he'd had, and I got it on for him. Like you would yourself, you know, for a mate.
Did the tip come from anyone that you know?
No, sir. It was quite inside, if you understand me.
Thank you, Mr. McGinty.
Mr. McGinty, did you block a window of the tote at Oak Grove Stadium between 3:20 and the start of the 3:40 race?
Well, you can't bet 2 at a time, that's certain.
Yes, but did you block this window deliberately?
Well, like, when I was betting at the window, I was blocking the window deliberately or not.
Mr. McGinty, the point of counsel's question was, I think, quite clear. Were you occupying the window of the totalisator in order to prevent other people from using it, or were you genuinely betting?
Well, I was genuinely betting, Your Honour, on behalf of Mr. Monaghan, who is now gone back home, sir.
Well, who gave you the money to back on this race?
Mr. Monaghan himself, sir.
And did Mr. Monaghan, who is unfortunately unable to be with us today, also give your companions money to bet with?
Some of them, I think, sir, but I would not like to be emphatic.
No. Now, you've told us that you were genuinely betting for the whole time that you occupied the tote window. Now, for how long was that?
Oh, well, like, I didn't time it, sir, but it was a good while.
Was it the whole time between the end of the 3:20 race and the start of the 3:40?
Oh, no, not the whole time, sir, but a good bit of it.
Now, you've told us that you met Mr. Broad at Oak Grove on that afternoon.
That's correct, sir. And I met him in the pub in Camden Town. And if I said 3 words to him on both occasions, I'd be astonished.
And did he seem to know Mr. Monaghan?
He did exchange a few words with him.
I put it to you, Mr. McGinty, that you and your companions went down to Oak Grove Stadium on that afternoon at the suggestion of Mr. Monaghan.
Am I to answer that?
Just answer as to whether you agree that that was the case.
And what's he asking? I mean, like, I've got to know what I'm committing myself to.
Did you go to Oak Grove Dog Racing Stadium at the suggestion of Mr. Monaghan?
Well, Mr. Monaghan was the foreman, sir.
Well, is that relevant?
Oh, you had to do what he said.
Well, did he suggest that you went to the dog racing stadium that afternoon?
No, Your Honour. There seems to be a good deal of concern here. How and why and all the crossing the I's and dotting the T's of how we went to this meeting. And I'm sure you've got your reasons for it. So look, I'll tell you, look, I'm going to put you in the picture just as clear as I can. Now, would you like that?
I've no further questions, my lord.
No further questions, my lord.
You may go.
That concludes the case for the defence, my lord.
Members of the jury, it is the submission of the prosecution in this case that there was a conspiracy to manipulate the totalisator odds on the 2nd of May. That is to say, there was collusion, it was premeditated, it was planned in advance, and it did not happen spontaneously. The second part of our case is that this conspiracy was dishonest by any acceptable definition of the concept of honesty. Well, you may say that we're dealing in a twilight world where everyday standards do not apply, but in doing so, you would be ducking the issue. It is precisely in the areas where dishonesty and corruption are most likely to occur that they must most rigorously be stamped out when they do. Now let us look at the claims that we would not convict this defendant of fraud because the bookmakers are such a lot of frauds themselves. Now clearly I suggest that this is an untenable position. Even if it were true, far better to bring the bookmaker to book than to sanction a gluttonous anarchy by ignoring this fraud. And anyway, is it true? The bookmaker, after all, is only Lady Luck's physical manifestation, is therefore bound to get his shins kicked. As to the rather, well, I'm tempted to say, embarrassingly naive claims by the defense that this was not a conspiracy, but a see you there if you happen to be able to make it kind of arrangement. Well, if the enterprise was an abject failure, one might have more time for this explanation. But in the light of the outcome, members of the jury, I suggest that there is only one conclusion that you can come to, and that is that there was forethought and extremely careful planning involved in this enterprise. And I suggest, therefore, your only verdict is one of guilty.
Members of the jury, let us be very clear that what happened on the 2nd of May was a gamble. There was no certainty as to the outcome. Had those two dogs not come first and second, and remember there are 29 other permutations that could have occurred, Mr. Broad would have lost £1,000 and he would not be before you today. Now, what is a gamble? An Archdeacon of Westminster once defined it rather well, I think, as a process by which a man seeks to lay hold of his neighbour's goods without making any equivalent return. And yet that is the very process to which my learned friend would have you apply the normal standards of immutable honesty. Now, make no mistake, members of the jury, the bookmaker is out for the punter's cash. Mr. Charles chose to accept Mr. Broad's wager in full. Indeed, he seems to have regarded it as something of a challenge. And when the coin falls on the side of the punter, we must surely applaud, not convict. As to the question of conspiracy, my learned friend chose to pour scorn on the defendant's description of the informality of the arrangement, presumably because he has no arguments with which to discredit it. But I suggest to you, members of the jury, that it is not at all difficult to conceive of arranging to meet a group of people if they can make it. I know that I have done so, and I'm sure that many of you recall instances when you have done so too. And as to the charge of dishonesty, the manageress of the totalisator herself testified that there was nothing dishonest, nothing illegal in what Mr. Broad did as far as the totalisator was concerned. And above all, and in conclusion, I would ask you to appreciate that in Mr. Broad we are dealing with a man of immense skill and perception where gambling is concerned. And anything in gambling which is the result of such skill and perception, whilst retaining the necessary and essential element of uncertainty, cannot, in my submission, be dishonest. I therefore ask you to return a verdict of not guilty.
Now, members of the jury, you and you alone are the sole judges of the questions of fact. I am here, it is my duty, to instruct you as to the law. Now, the offence of conspiracy to defraud was not created by statute, but has its origins in the history of the common law. Conspiracy is no more than a common agreement or common design. Now, the prosecution says that this agreement was reached at the earliest at a public house in Camden Town, and at the latest at the racecourse itself. And even on the defendant's own account of the matters here, you may well feel that there has been some acting in concert. Now, the conspiracy must be to defraud, and defrauding has two elements. First, there is the element of obtaining something from the person to be defrauded, and second, of causing him to act to his own disadvantage. Now, the prosecution say that the person to be defrauded was Mr. Charles, and it's quite clear from the evidence that in this case the totalisator could not be defrauded. Now, we come to the last and most important part of this offence, and that is the question of dishonesty. Now, the defendant says, what I did was not dishonest, it was no better and it was no worse than goes on in dog racing at any time. Well, what is honest, what is dishonest? That is for you to decide. You set the standards, and those standards are the standards of right-thinking people. If you feel certain that the defendant acted dishonestly, then you must convict. But if you are not sure, well, then you must acquit. Because I must remind you, it is the duty of the prosecution to prove its case beyond all reasonable doubt. Well, members of the jury, will you kindly retire now to consider your verdict?
All stand. Members of the jury, will your foreman please stand? Just answer this question, yes or no. Have you reached a verdict upon which you are all agreed?
Yes.
Do you find the accused William Broad guilty or not guilty?
Guilty.
Oi, Ronnie, pick any two.
Mr. Justice Campbell sentenced William Broad to 3 years' imprisonment. A chance for you to join another jury in assessing the facts when our cameras return to the Crown Court.